All right, folks. So let's start with our session. Now, the first news of the day is a terrible disappointment. We have a wonderful article on the page, the editorial page on this particular issue, that how her background, how the fourth Fogart. We have heard about the Fogart sisters from the movie Dangal. She's also from a very nearby village where Sakshi and the other Fogart lives. So the story is about Vinesh Fogart and her journey to the Olympics, how she missed two rounds earlier, and now on her third bout, she's missed both gold and silver because of a few grams. So there is a lot of news with respect to this. We'll cover that in due time. But let's talk about the other news. Bangla forces scramble to restore order. Army says government interim government today. Now interim government, as most of you are aware, will be headed by Mohammad Yunus. Mohammad Yunus is the champion of microfinance. Now this is something that you should know because microfinance and the self-help groups are a part of your syllabus in governance. So you should be aware of what this particular entire issue is. And who Muhammad Yunus is. Now, so there's a lot of disorder that is right now happening both in Bangladesh as well as in UK. UK, we already know it's because of this particular stabbing that happened in with small school going girls, and because of which we also read a news yesterday that what is the kind of violence that is happening in the entire UK, especially led by these far right groups which are turning Islamophobia and creating a lot of videos with respect to this Islamophobic material that they are creating, and thereby there's a lot of targeting that is happening across UK with mosques being targeted and immigrants being targeted. So you can read about that as well. So and the possible return of PM Khalida Zia. Now PM Khalida Zia, the former PM Khalida Zia. Now she's basically from a party called BNP. So just like you have Awami League, which was led by Sheikh Hasina, now you had BNP. Now she was sentenced into jail for 17 years for corruption. Now, the Bangladesh National Party leader might be elected for leading the country, but the past suggests that she's not had a very good relationship with India. And she's had a good relationship with Pakistan. So something to worry for India, just like we have the kind of relationship with Maldives, we might have a relationship with them as well. Then let's this is the news that you can read, but I'm going to deal with this particular news only in case of the editorial. Others, if you want to read, you can read, but not very essential for us. uh, so her mighty heart. So this is the Vinesh Fogart's story, and I mean, you should know how to weave a story, because weaving a story is going to be a very important part of your essay as well. So you should know how to start a particular essay and end a particular essay, but at the same point of time there are in between lines which are important. For example, in this particular article, I really like this line, that it would be tempting to burn the rule book, tell the officials to have a heart, and the question that fairness of the world, or moan at the cruelty of fate. The outrage at best can be cathartic. The fact that 50 kilo Olympic would not have forget the reason she weighed a few grams more. By how much? Walk to your dining table, lift a salt sprinkler, get an idea, take a pinch from it, and gulp down the water of a glass to push the lump down your throat. So this is, the way that it has been weaved is something which is very poetic. And think of how, and again you can use GPTs for such poetic expressions as well. So think of the previous essays that have come, and think of how you can express in terms of a poetic kind of a weaving. So this would help. In fact, why this reminds me is that in my last essay that I wrote with UPSC, I started with something like this, and the moment that I walked out of the essay, or the essay test, I knew that I'm going to score a very good mark in this. I was expecting somewhere around 160, 170, but I think 155, 160 was the highest in those days, and I got a 143 in that. So what I'm trying to tell you is that you need to know how to weave stories, and that's why I keep telling you to read the editorials to understand that how people write, and then slowly incorporate it. So and even the end is very nice, that she was denied silver, and but she will be remembered as the one who was neither intimidated by Singh nor ruffled by Suzaki, who was the undefeated champion, who was till now the undefeated champion in this 50 kg wrestling bout. So you can read this story. I mean, not very important for us from the examination point of view, but it can give you a lot of insight into what this particular individual is made of, what she went through her teens. Father died at the age of 9, and then in a culture where she was not very prominent, because the other Fogats were important, were very popular. She took on bigger things, and she never in the sense that she was never shy of any kind of challenge. And this we have seen when Shakshi Malik and Fogat were there on Jantar Mantar, and were hard pressing against Bhushan, who was the chairman, or the head of the wrestling association. So she takes the world with a stride of her own. So an important article, the other article, which we have also discussed yesterday on the front pages, with respect to indexation benefits. Now we've already talked about this, that the government of the day wants to simplify the taxation system. Just like they wanted to simplify the GST, the indirect taxation system through GST, they want to simplify the taxation system through GST, through a number of amendments. And maybe later on, in these 4 years, upcoming 4 years, you will see the introduction of direct tax code as well. So now, what did the government do? We've already discussed this. There is something called as indexation that happens. Now, what is the indexation? That suppose you buy a property, and indexation is basically with respect to these long-term capital gains. And what are these long-term capital gains? If you take up a capital asset, and then you sell it after a point of time, and anything more than 1 year, in certain circumstances, or other circumstances more than 3 years, is called as a capital, is talked as a, or called as a long-term capital asset. So basically, keeping a capital asset for a lengthier duration is something called as long-term capital asset. Now, in case of stocks, it's 1 year, by the way. So the government said that we would like to have an equalization across equity, debt, real estate. We want to simplify things for everyone, and bring all of these financial assets at par, and said that we will tax all of them, all the long term capital gains thing, we will tax at 12.5% instead of 20%. But at the same point of time, the government said that we will not allow for indexation. So by that, what they mean is that we will not allow you to reduce or basically reduce the cost price through inflation, through an add-on of inflation. Now, I gave you a good example yesterday, that suppose you had bought a property for 1 crore rupee, and in 2004, and in 2024 you are selling it for for 3 crore rupees. So you made 2 crore rupees, and of 2 crore rupees you have to pay 12.5% taxes if the new regime stands. But if indexation benefits are allowed, that the value of that 1 crore rupee that you invested in 2004 is worth maybe 2 crore rupees right now. If that is the case, then the long term capital gains that you get is only 1 crore rupee, to 3 crore minus 2 crore, and on that 1 crore you can now pay 20%, which is 20 lakh rupees. So this is what the government has done. Apart from that, how to reduce the burden of taxation, the government has also said that we will not take up disputes with respect to assessment beyond 3 years. Within 3 years, if there is any dispute in assessment, we will bring it to board. If the amount is less than 50 lakhs, we will not bring in, and we will not do anything, because they want to target the big fish. I mean, there's no point in litigation and harassing people for penny amounts. So this is another article that you can read. Then policing piety. Now this is again with respect to developmental boards, since you have NGOs and developmental associations as part of governance, this topic becomes important. And the first part is also very important from the point of view. Now let's understand what this article says. Now the government has introduced a WAF amendment bill. Now what is this WAF amendment bill? Now what are WAF properties? These WAF properties are basically when even non-Islam people can do it, but usually generally Islam people who follow the Muslim religion, deal with it. Now what people can do is that they can whatever self acquired property that they can have. For example, I have this house which is in my name. Now I can donate this to the community, and then I can, in the name of God, I can then say that this property shall be managed in consonance with the Islamic understanding of charity. So basically, I want to do some kind of charity, and I'm giving my movable or immovable assets for that. Now this is being managed by what is called as WAF boards. These boards basically manage the property on the lines of the benevolent, that how he or she wants it to be managed. Now what and this is again, why is law needed? This is the history why law is needed for religious and charitable trust. Now this is a part of your curriculum, and therefore it is important. Now the fourth Chief Justice of India had actually said that as long as the feeling of piety and benevolence are have an abiding place in human heart, there must be an expression of religious and charitable gifts. And then law, which means to serve, and the need for law is that which means to serve the social ends and regulate and control in order to object of the donor. So whatever the donor wants, in order to mandate the how the property needs to be managed, how the gifts needs to be managed, there needs to be law. And that is where in all civilized systems religious and charitable trust came into being. Now just a second, folks. Now the Waqf board basically came in 1995, and then we had substantial amendments. But what the government tries to do is it is trying to manage and micromanage the Waqf board by removing, or by making district collector a major party to this. And what the article says is that it should be understood that Waqf board properties are not public properties. They are not using public funds. They are self-acquired properties using private funds. And the creation of any new Waqf boards, if the government is doing, the management and the control over administration should be very limited. So these amendments, if you see, these amendments try to facilitate an interference of government organization in the Waqf properties, and which is against Article 26 of the Constitution, which basically says that religious dominations the any particular religion can manage its religious dominations. So this is another development that has happened. And again the amendments reflect the presumption that government land has been taken over by WAF board. At times this is if there is any presumption like that, then the collector makes the final decision. But again, you're giving too much power to an individual with respect to properties which are of this nature, the nature of religious charity. So the article basically says that they are against Article 25, Article 26, and you're making the properties vulnerable to police access as well as excesses, as well as the excesses of the government, especially that of the district collector. So this is an important development. Then the most important article from today's news is that, again, this article, folks, please read it on your own. The crime against women, lesson from Wayanad is something that I'm going to cover. Now, the article has been written by Madhav Gadgil. I told you there are two reports. One is the Madhav Gadgil report, which talked about 3 zones to be created and a significant amount of land to be not to be touched. But this particular in this particular case, what Madhav Gadgil has found, that a number of none of the provisions of what he had asked for had actually been implemented, and that's why you see a huge disaster coming our way. Now, it's a very very important article because it talks about, in the initial part, it talks about the history of all the entire region. Now, the history of this entire region, first of all, it says that when he visited this particular area, he saw that only the trees which are originally planted there. So this the entire topography is basically converted into cultivation of tea and coffee and these estates with big buildings as well. Now when he was passing through this particular region, he saw that none of the cultivation was seen. Eucalyptus trees were not seen, but these were all exotic, but only the trees which are the original vegetations. For example, this ficus bedome tree that withstood. So it is the same thing that we say with this thing, cyclones as well, that mangroves are one of the best things which can prevent cyclonic surge to come into the land. Similarly, the original vegetation serves a particular purpose. The vegetation, the original vegetation here is also important. Now, the British basically changed this entire region for their own benefit, and converted this entire region from its natural vegetation to that of tea fields as well as coffee fields. And that has led to what has happened is that you have slopes of tea farming, and the slopes of tea farming, you have these gorges, and all these laborers which are made to live there and then exploit and they're exploited for number of hours a day, actually live in these gorges. And because of so because of this, the tea and coffee plantations, what has happened is that these gorges are there. And when we see that what has happened, the people who have died are actually the ones who lived in these gorges, and they've been swept by a river of mud, where there I mean there, just a second, folks. Yes. So where their bodies and I mean it's very difficult to even find, not just survivors. Just to get the bodies out is very difficult, because there are at times few feet below the river of mud. So think of a huge river of mud which is flowing over you. So that is how this is so problematic. But then ultimately, the only way the only way to check this is that this Western Ghats ecological panel, which was under Madhav Gadgil, it says that there are four kinds of this thing capital that country has. You have the natural capital: water, vegetation, biodiversity, agriculture, animal husbandry. You have social capital, social behavior and sense of security. You have human capital, and you have man-made capital. What Indians have done and what people have done in the recent past is they've prioritized human capital over all other kinds of capital. And that's why what we see is that the disasters that are happening. And we need to focus on natural capital more, and human capital as well. So this is what is concerning India. And then this particular panel also used to say that we have a graded environment development activity according to three zones: high, moderate, and low. And but nothing has happened between in this period. And between 2011 and 2020, there has been 100-fold increase in the frequency of landslides in this particular vulnerable region. So this is a very very important article, folks. You should read it. Then generation of broken dreams is about coaching centers. We have read a lot about that. Another new article: the states Chhattisgarh to get a new tiger reserve among dwindling big cat population. This It will be the fourth shelter. Now you should note on a map, and all of you should have Prem Patel with you. If you don't have Prem Patel, let me know. I will send you the copy of Prem Patel, which is for mapping. And you should know each and every tiger reserve in India. Also, tiger reserves are part of a larger national park or a wildlife sanctuary. So you should be aware of that. And within that, whatever is the hills, whatever are the other animals, and whatever is the river, because all these natural reserves have river for animals. So you should know about that as well. So this is very important for you. You have to connect things while reading. So this is so please read about this. This is Guru Ghasidas Tamor Pingla Tiger Reserve, which is in the existing national park of Chhattisgarh. So read about it. And this is important because Chhattisgarh is among those states which have had the tiger reducing. According to the National Tiger Conservation Authority, something that you should be aware about, the number of tigers fell from 46 to 17, and that is a major concern. So and also this will be the third largest in the country. Please read about the first three. So you have the Andhra's Nagarjuna Tiger Reserve, which is the largest, and then the Manas Tiger Reserve in Assam, which is the second largest. So this is something that you should note. Then coming to heavy buying of DIIs. So what has happened is, after what has happened on Monday, on Tuesday and Wednesday, the domestic buyers, led by mutual fund insurance companies, have pumped in a lot of funds, whereas the FPIs have withdrawn money. So ultimately, see, what is the stock market? Stock market is basically demand and supply. So the foreigners are pulling money because of you're expecting a recession in US and Japan, whatever the issues are there. Taiwan has fallen by a huge amount. So all of that has happened, and they're pulling out money to their own domestic countries. But at the same point of time, the domestic buyers are buying in case of India. So that is why the markets have risen a little. Then the other thing, India needs to take other factor market reforms. Please read this: land, labor, capital, and yes, pyrocolumbonimbus clouds. Now you should be aware about what in geography what columbonimbus. These are anvil shaped clouds which reach the stratosphere. But what are these columbonimbus clouds? Whenever you have wildfires, which is very common in now Canada and in US, what happens is that you have this huge kind of a fireball that is happening. And because of this, what happens is that you have intense heat that goes into the atmosphere, and it doesn't have very much of water vapor, but there is an immense amount of heat that is released, which goes up and then condenses, which forms large and dark clouds. So you have clouds which are very long and very dark, but they don't have much of water vapor around them. But what happens in these clouds is there's a lot of lightning, and that's why they are at times called as, there's another term which is mentioned here, hyper, I think, pyrocolumbonimbus clouds. And they also cause more wildfires, because of lightning, and when lightning strikes these forests, they again fire is the result. And because of climate change, these clouds are now becoming even stronger. So read about this. Bailey bridges which are made by
Fact.
uh, bridges which are made by army, where you have landslides and Uttarakhand like disasters, where there's no connectivity. You have a makeshift bridge which is called as a Bailey bridge. Then you can read about Vinesh Fogart's issue, and what went wrong for Hasina. We've already read about this. If you want to read it, but I've already taught you what has gone wrong with Sheikh Hasina. Then is there anything else? No, no. Yeah, this Neeraj Chopra is out today for his bout. Hopefully, we'll get at least one gold medal. So this is about it, folks. That's about it from my side. So I will meet you tomorrow at same time around 5:30. Thank you very much. See you. Bye bye. Say bye.